everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel, Artie Tambarambaa, also known as Tammy Porter, and today I'm creating my first play with the Art by Marlene April 2025 release. So I've used the Quotylicious quotes, I've popped them into one of my storage boxes. I've also used the watercolors, I used a stack of the markers, I've used this gorgeous new background stamp, grungy stamp. I've used the new cut and paste block. I've used the a new stencil, the Hexagon Stencil, and of course the new A4 book. And I'm creating it all on the new craft mat as well. So it's an awesome release. I think also in there I used pitch and lace, which is black and white paint, and some glue as well. Okay, so I just opened up my journal to any random page. I don't tend to work front to back. I just go with what I like. And then I'm using the cut and paste block. And I just felt like doing some flowers today. So I've just finding a few flowers in a few different colour tones and using those as my jumping off point. So just fussy cut them out. I cut that bit out because you don't need to watch me fussy cut. It's pretty boring. And then I felt like I needed another flower. So I've come in with those and I'm thinking, how am I going to arrange these on my page? And then I've grabbed the new Hexagon Stencil. Now I will put all of the links, the codes in the description. So hopefully you can find anything. And if you're wondering what I use, you can find the code. But basically, there's a little strip on the side of this stencil that I thought would make a gorgeous little flower stem. And so I thought I'm going to use lots of bright colours. So I'm going to make the stems black and white. So I've got one of the artist sponges and I've wet it and then wrung it out. And then I've just popped some of the pitch paint, which is the black, straight onto my craft sheet. And I love that it just wipes straight off. I've created the last few years on silicone and it just is quite different to that. It does wipe off a lot easier, and even if it dries it wipes off, whereas I kind of have to scrub it off the others. So yeah, so I really like the craft mat and it gives you that white base. I have actually got mine, it's slightly see-through, so I've got it over my aqua silicone mat that I have been using, so I will probably put some white underneath just to make it a bit wider for the next video. So I came in and stenciled that stem in 4 different places, and I tried to make them different heights so that the flowers are all, not sort of competing with each other. They've got their own little place. So now that I've done that, I grabbed the watercolors and I thought I'm going to take this paper for a spin. It's the it's the smooth mixed media paper that's awesome of Marlene's, but I just wanted to use some watercolor backgrounds. I wanted something a little bit softer. So the other thing I grabbed is in the cut and paste block. There's a beautiful watercolor page that's just stunning, and you can't kind of see it. I've put the watercolors on top of it, but I have it sitting there as a bit of an inspiration, just with some of the colors. And because as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh my god, I love that page. And of course I love it so much I don't want to use it. So I thought I'd use it as inspiration, and hopefully it will mean that I do come back and use it in the future. Aren't we funny how we tend to hoard some of our favourite things? And like they say, use your good dinner plates, wear your nice perfume, and use your good art supplies. But yes, it's still a little bit of a blockage that I have. So I'm using that as my jumping off point, and I'm just coming in. I didn't gesso, I'm going straight onto the page. I didn't add water to the page. I am adding water to the watercolours and then putting them straight onto the page. And I'm trying to get a few blends of different colours, some purples, pinks, greens, limey colour, and blues and aquas as well. And basically using that, as you can see, it's peeking out there, that page is my jumping off point. So the first layer is down. And I'm sort of thinking, I'll just do a little bit of layering. I knew I wanted those those flowers as my focal point, but I'm really just playing with the background. So I decide with that stencil, that Hexagon Stencil, I might see what it looks like if I just add watercolour straight through it. And I love it. Look how good that looks. And then I used it as a bit of a stamp as well. So I still had watercolour on my stencil, so I just turned it over and stamped it straight onto my background in a different area. So it just gives it's kind of a hint of something. It's not the, the stenciling doesn't come out perfectly. It's more of a smudgy look, but it looks really gorgeous in the backgrounds. So then just coming in, building up those layers by continuing this, and also just adding some mark makings as I go. And it gives, you can start to see some beautiful colours forming, sort of interest that you kind of, hopefully when you look back at this background, you think, oh, how did she do that? And that's what I want to create, sort of little pockets of depth and magical colours. And yeah, so I'm using the stencil, as you can see again, just to paint through it. And sometimes it works better than others, and that's okay. If it doesn't come out super well, I can just add a bit more paint and mark making to that area. I didn't quite realise when I made this video that I'm not completely on the page. So next time I do one, I think because this art journal is an A4 size, it's bigger than what I sometimes work in. So I'll try and remember to lift my camera up a little bit so you get the whole of the page in there. So I'm just continuing this, having lots of fun with letting those colours, you know, merge and new colours pop out. And yeah, the new release is awesome. I'm always get mine a bit later than everyone else, so my videos, you know, and what always happens is it arrives as I've got my couple of work days that are really long that I don't get a chance to play on those days. So yeah, I don't get to play as much as the others before the release date. So hopefully I've got Easter coming up and I haven't got too much planned, so hopefully I have a lot more time to do some playing, so you can expect a lot more videos and inspiration. I'd love to know what your favourites are and what you're thinking of getting. I did do an unboxing video if you want to go back and find that. Yeah, so now every now and then I place down the flowers and just do a little bit of auditioning and make sure I'm happy with, you know, adding a bit more colour around them and things like that. I have left a little bit of a border. I didn't tape it off. I just, you know, left a little gap. I like the way the watercolours don't have that defined line. They're just sort of a bit of a more organic sort of line. So I like how that's happening. Again, just building up those colours. And I'm just trying to create a bit of depth in a couple of areas around the page. So you've got some of that softness and you've got a little bit of depth as well to draw the eye into the page. I think it's almost time to stick down those flowers. I think that's maybe what I do next. Yeah, so I just dry off the page. And when I lifted up those flowers at this point, I actually noticed because I'd left a little bit of a white patch, white space, because I knew I was going to cover that up with the flowers. And I liked that bit of whiteness in there. And I thought, I think I've gone a little bit nuts, surprise, surprise for me, with colour. And I think I just want to knock it back a little bit with a little bit of white. So I'm just using the same stencil and I'm using some lace paint, the white paint, just in a couple of patches. And I really like how this looks. It just adds that bit of definition between the stronger colours and the lighter colours. And yeah, it's really effective with the stenciling done in a couple of different ways on the page. It's not really super obvious what you've done, and I think that makes your pages that bit more interesting. So now I decide that in that collage paper pad, the sample sheet I've got there's a little bit of script and sort of background stamping. So I come in with the new stamps, and there's a one that's fine lines that go one way and then the other, and I just stamp them into the background in some areas, just to give a bit of interest to the page. So then I come in, and this is the part where I think, oh my God, I've just completely stuffed it. So I'll talk you through my thought process. So I've added the black and white stems, as you can see, and I think, oh, there's some lovely softness happening in the background, but I need to tie in the black, is what I thought. And so I stuck down the flowers and went straight in with the black marker and drew around a couple of them. And then I felt like I'd gone too far, like it was too much black. So now I come in to fix that. I'm coming in with a finer pen over the top, just so those lines don't seem quite so bold, so that there's dark lines, like thicker lines and thinner lines, so it looks a bit more purposeful, because I kind of went, ooh. And so I'm mindful to do that with the other flowers and not with that thicker marker, just something, a bit of a finer pen I'm going around them, so it looks like they're meant to be there. So you can see I keep doing some lines, and that is just to tie it all in. And I think that's the trick when you're doing a few lines, is not to just do one. Make sure you do a few so that it looks very purposeful. And now I'm just coming in, I add some white and black to the centres and some dots, just to try and tie in that black and white stem to have in the flowers as well. Now at this point I reckon the light had come over my desk, and it's gone a bit darker, so the colours aren't quite true here. There's quite a bit of shadowing coming over my desk, so you can't quite see those brightness of the colours. But now I'm coming in with the markers, and just in a few little areas, not a lot, I'm just adding a tiny bit, and then just water on my brush to blend it through. And that just sort of, fixes a couple of areas that maybe you're not super happy with, and it's just another layer to the page as well. Now I can't remember if I've done this part already, but I did also come in where I stamped that first stamp. I also added some script stamp, which is from that gorgeous new stamp set, the grungy one called Lovely Textures. It is a must-have. So I have stamped that onto the background, and kind of over the top. I've kept it in the same area where I've already stamped, so it kind of adds some layers to your page. Rather than just stamping everywhere, just stamp in a few areas and stamp a few different textures at once in that area. Then I scribbled along the lines of the stems, just to make them not look so just plonked on there, so they belong with the flowers. And then there's this other gorgeous grungy stamp in that same stamp set, and I love it. As soon as I did it, I thought, oh my God, this is pulling it all together, because what it's doing is putting a little bit more black into the page. So I kind of stamped it so it went from the bottom left up to the top right, sort of in a flowing effect on the page. And I really like how that was the bit that kind of went, okay, now I'm happy with this page. And sometimes that's what it's about. It's about just continuing, keeping going, adding more layers until you're happy with it. And now I pull out those amazing Quotylicious stamps, and I end up putting them in that a storage box, but I end up cutting out, there's a couple of different shaped ones in there. So this is a couple of circular ones, and they look so cute as the centre of the flowers. So then I just do some scribbles to merge them into the page. So I'll leave you with close-ups. This will give you a better look at the background and some of the stamping, but also more accurately the colours than when that shadow came over my desk. So yeah, this is a fun play with the first play for the new release, and I will be back again soon sharing more. But thanks so much for being here, and stay tuned. Bye.